All right, kids, it's time to let loose.
Where the light is kinder than you know. It's time to let it loose. It's time to let it loose. It's time to let it loose. It's time to let it
All right, kids, it's time to let loose. All right, kids, it's time to let loose.
I would love to hear, especially from you people who've been in class for a while now, everybody really, but I'd like to know what you would like to accomplish in this session. What are you feeling like, oh, I hope I can accomplish this time around?
This is my sixth session with Winnie, and this time what I want to accomplish is, I think last session has made me realize kind of how I'm lacking in terms of like basic skills. Like a lot of the lessons talk about reaction and thinking your thoughts continuously, and last session made me realize how much practice I need when it comes to that. So this session I want to really focus on having that continuous reaction, that continuous like tennis match between the two actors.
I'm from Ireland. I've been doing these classes pretty much since the start. But what I wanted to get out of this term, I think, is to just get a better at kind of just letting go, not keeping everything so controlled. I think that I still have a lot of problems where I think things are bigger than they are, and then I watch back the tapes and it's like, oh, that was actually really small. So just being able to let go and really get into it.
And that has so much to do with just letting go of any of your own watching yourself.
Yeah.
Watching yourself and judging yourself as you perform is one of the biggest hindrances to just being your character. You know, your character watches themselves. I mean, we all watch ourselves a little bit, but when we're in the midst of something that we really want, we do let go of that, don't we?
Yeah.
You know, that's why we don't want people following us around with cameras. You know, if we get mad at our mom and start screaming at her, we aren't thinking about how we look or what we say or what we do we? You know, we're just letting go. Okay, so being completely involved is all about to stop watching yourself. So we'll work on that. Allison, she's been involved in the sub, and I'm so happy to be able to work with her in person.
I guess the biggest thing that I want to learn out of this is tennis match of the reacting to the person. And then also a big thing for me is getting over those mental gymnastics of just kind of constantly thinking your character's thoughts, you know, like no vacations, all of that. That's something I've been kind of struggling with too, just working on monologues.
Just going to say it's going to be so much easier for you to understand what that's all about now that we're in a live class.
Yes.
And you get to work with people who have been working on it for a while. So welcome. I'm so happy that you're here. Randy.
Hi, I'm Randy. I'm an OG member of this class. Been here for the whole run. I guess what I'm looking for this session is kind of a amalgamation of Felicia and Siobhan's. Definitely always trying to let go and just be the person and not be thinking, and then just to get that so that the tennis match comes, which I think started doing better last session a lot.
You're definitely taking steps forward, and I'm very pleased with that's happening.
I'm Farah. I'm in Colorado. I'm in the Air Force, and this is my first time doing class with Winnie. It is so crazy to actually be part of class and like seeing you not in a YouTube video or on Twitch. It's pretty cool. So I'm super new and just getting started. So I'm honestly just wanting to learn the basics so that I can eventually get to the point where I can audition.
Good. You came to the right place.
I am also an OG class member. So my goals for this class, I think, are to, I want to say level up in terms of like reacting, but mostly in terms of choosing interesting tactics. They're not like interesting for the sake of being interesting, but just choosing stronger tactics that are they're more of a choice. I mean, the example that I'm thinking of is in the last class, Winnie, you gave the note of like, be more jokey, like use the jokiness, like really use it, like really lean into that. And I was like, oh, you're right. I can lean into stuff. Like I can do stuff.
Great. Yeah. That whole idea of leaning into tactics really has to do with identifying characteristics of your character's personality, right? Because, the only reason I said, you can lean into the humor is because twice in your monologue, you said it's a joke.
Right.
So
Yes.
you know that that's an important thing to your character. So why not use it? Finding who your character is and following up on that, giving them the chance to be who they are.
Yeah. Like, how do they normally how might they deal with problems usually? Like, what's a couple I feel like everyone has like a handful of typical ways that they react to things. And then how is that affected by what's going on in their life and in the moment? And I need to be like writing this down.
Yeah, because go ahead if you want to grab something. The thing is that the reason people have certain things that they use is because there are certain things have worked for them. It's what's worked for them in the past as they were growing up, how did their parents respond to them? How did they get what they wanted as they were growing up? Right? This is why they end up being the way they are. I had this friend, it was in a movie that I was in briefly. In my own career, I used to talk like this a lot because I sort of did dumb blondes all the time. But she talked like that always, and she would call my answering machine. She would say, "Hi, this is I." And I'm going, "Oh God, why do you talk that way?" I mean, I can talk that way, but I choose to when I knew I to. But there's another voice there too. Why? Why does she do that? Because it worked for her. You understand what I mean? Is that her parents responded, "Oh, she's so cute. Listen to her little voice." But we all have a big range of vocal abilities, where we can speak, deeper, and we can talk really high. All of us can do that. But whatever our character, what worked for them when they were growing up, is what they hang on to, is what they use. Is acting dumb something that really helped you in your life, or did acting intelligent work for you in your life? It's all about how you grew up and got what you wanted, and your character will use that in whatever pursuit they have. How am I going about getting what I want? And you can use several of those as you go, and those are called tactics. How does my character get what they want? That's what a tactic is. And it is so attached to who your character is. What works for them? And in this particular situation, what's going to work? So sometimes people kind of think as tactics as being some kind of random things that your character is going to pull out of a hat. But that's not necessarily true, is it? These are ways that your character actually makes their life work. Does that make sense?
Very much. This is a video.
I think this is my 4th session of this class. Yeah, I think that's right. What I really want to work on is kind of like what Chelsea said, but maybe at a slightly more basic level, because I think I'm like more of a beginner comparatively. It's just like thinking stronger thoughts. I have this issue where a lot of the time I'm working on the scene, and as I'm doing it, I'm like, oh yeah, like I feel like I'm thinking my thoughts. And then I go back and watch myself and I have like no expression on my face. And so I think I just need, like, the thoughts I'm thinking are either not strong enough or not relevant enough. So that's sort of like, I think, a big thing that's holding me back right now that I need to get better at.
The meaning of your words. That's where you've got to think harder on. because words are just alphabet letters in a row. That's all they are when we read them. But when in context, words mean such different things within the context of what you're talking about. So what does your character really mean by saying this word? And as you come up with it, as you say the word, you're thinking what you mean. And that's what the whole empathize to emphasize. I mean, that just came to me one day when I was writing for this, because I never said that back when I was just teaching a million people out of my studio. But I was just thinking about how words, you've got to actually feel them as you say them. Really, because that's what we do in real life. You know, when we're trying to come up with a word, and as we say it, we sort of act it out in our minds. You know, it's not acting it out. It's thinking about what we mean by that word, because words can mean such different things. In my post about this, the word soft is my example. And I think it's a great example because soft can mean so many things. You know, the first thing that might come to your mind is, oh, that's so soft. You're petting your little kitty cat. It's so soft. But then you might be talking about this guy, you know, and he's kind of soft, right? And then you might be talking about, why didn't you throw those apples away? They're all soft. So as you're thinking about that apple that you just picked it up and your fingers went right through and it was all gushy and rotten, okay? Just the word soft means rotten, okay? And you're going to bring that to the way you say the word. So you understand how I mean that you're acting out the word, you know, in your mind, because you're seeing it, you're reliving what just happened in the refrigerator. Turn up that music, it's too soft. You know, that means I can't hear it. So that's a completely different thing than the soft little kitty cat, isn't it? And we're going to say that word so differently on each one of those things about that soft guy. You know, he's awfully soft. You know, I say anything to him and he's crying. So it's bringing the meaning to the word as you say it. And I think that's what we're talking about with you, is that you can't say anything without thinking about what it means, right? Because every single word means a million things. Good. We'll work on that.
This is my second class. And my three main things that I want to focus on are, as I feel like everyone's been saying, thinking my character's thoughts continuously throughout everything that's going on. I also really want to work on focusing on the other character and really working towards changing something in them and getting what I want from them and like really making it about them. And then on a more like logistical perspective, like point, I guess, is like working on when working with you, Winnie, instead of like sitting there thinking about what it is that you want from me, just trying something, because I know that you're going to tell me if that's not what you were trying to get me to do. So there's no point in me sitting here going, like I need to get this perfect. And I think that goes back to what you said earlier about like not watching myself and just going for it.
Right. I think more, instead of pleasing me, think about pleasing your character. Okay. Your character really wants something. Your character is going about getting it. If you know your character well, you know, like what I was talking about using their particular qualities to get what they want, knowing the way that they look at the world, what their perspective is about the situation that they're in, the circumstances, and to let your character loose. That's really what you need to do. Let your character loose, not yourself necessarily, because, you know, you as your character, you as an actress, what do you want? You want to perform well. That's what you want. So you got to leave your own desires away and let your character do what they want. You know, you're just the vehicle. Your character, you got to let your character actually live within you. and let them loose in the circumstances and the situation that you're in. So it's not about pleasing me or trying to do what I told you to do. What I hope to do when I give you any kind of direction is to give you more insight into your character so that your character can do a better job. Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And if I ever do say, okay, I'd like you to do something, I don't really mean that. I mean, I want your character. Yeah. Consider your character and how did they go about doing it and what they need to do to get what they want and what they would do, because characters don't always do the best things for themselves. They make mistakes just like anyone else. I mean, if they start screaming at somebody, it's not a good choice, but they've been triggered to do it in that moment for a particular reason. So it's just allowing your character to be free to interact.
Try something new. Oh, I really like what you do. I wanna try something new.
Alright kids, it's time to let loose.